What kind of future do you want for your community? In the last 50 years, a lot has changed in the global economy. We've lost sight of the agreements and relationships that allowed for growth, production, and investment in economically beneficial activities and infrastructure. Once written into law and policy, these agreements affected different Wisconsinites differently, giving rise to political and social disagreements within the state. In addition, little communication and compromise between decision makers in both the public and private sectors have worsened these divides. Because of the lack of shared priorities and understandings across party lines, we end up downplaying the severity of problems real Wisconsinites face on a daily basis and miss opportunities for positive change. In this video series, we'll explore 4 possible futures for the state of Wisconsin by asking and answering 2 central questions. Do decision makers agree on priorities? And is there a common purpose and understanding between decision makers? The 4 combinations of yes and no from these 2 questions will help us understand what will happen when leaders do and do not agree on what goals to achieve and the priority to carry out these goals. But these questions can be applied to many contexts where competing priorities exist. For example, a trucking company sees a business opportunity to deliver to new areas, but the company has been receiving complaints that deliveries within their current service area have been late. Decision makers at the company must agree on priorities and have a common purpose and understanding to decide which issue or issues to address and how to address them. When decision makers do not share priorities and do not have a common understanding, they fail to communicate. They work in isolation, and both public and private sectors receive inadequate support. For instance, government incentives prioritize some organizations and supply chains, like large grocery stores and farms, but fail to support and spread the innovations produced by smaller stakeholders like local food producers and suppliers. As large grocery stores have incentives from the government to hire more workers and expand product lines, consumers get used to going to the more convenient grocery store. This ultimately hurts the local economy, as small, local producers and suppliers no longer have ways to sell their product or compete against the larger grocery store. No matter the sector, food, manufacturing, healthcare, or others, our failure to share purpose, priorities, and understandings result in little hope and no interest in developing or having future-oriented goals, little to no contribution to the common good, the adoption of tools, goals, and measures that are not in line with priorities, ineffective regulatory models that can punish local businesses and create unfair competitive environments, no integrated supply chain thinking to include independent and collaborative processes, no coordinated action across public and private sectors, jurisdictions, and organizational structures. Because of the lack of shared priorities and understanding, public and private sectors function independently. The lack of collaboration squashes any opportunities for creating policies that are sustainable and revenue generating for both the private and public sector. Also, law and policy are unequally enforced or not enforced at all, as public and private sectors rarely interact. In practice, this leads to a sense of government officials being out of touch with the true needs of their constituents. And, due to the lack of communication between government and industry, no effective or efficient avenue of feedback exists to motivate lawmakers to change or continue adopting goals that reflect their current priorities. In the end, communities feel unsupported by the government, and inequality and polarization exist across all urban and rural populations, public and private sectors of the economy, and throughout Wisconsin. Regulations, policies, institutions, and our daily choices have an impact on our current and future reality. We all play a role in ensuring our future communities work in mutually beneficial systems, so cross-sector collaboration is essential to ensure all voices are heard. While individual stakeholders have the freedom to make their own choices, we can provide information that informs these choices and their impacts on the community. Everyone has ideas of what the future of Wisconsin looks like and when that future takes place. By working across sectors, we can collaborate, align those goals, and work together to create a productive future for all. By collaborating, we are better equipped to hold each other and leaders accountable while being responsible to each other. To see the video exploring what happens when we answer yes to either or both of these questions, continue watching this series.